They would tell him he's too much. Let's just clear some things up, man. Let's go ahead and clear some things up. He's not just enough, he's too much. And some of us have been settling for not enough. And then some of us have been settling for just enough to get by. But that's not what God has.
Right.
That's not who He is. He's Jehovah Jireh. He's too much. And He wants to pour out on you too much, not so you can just hold it in, but in allowing Him to clear things up in your mind and your heart and clear the vision, you begin to understand that my true satisfaction is found in pouring out on others. In Acts, where we had you turn to a very well-known story for many, beginning with verse 2, Peter and John, who had been poured out on. This certain man, lame from his mother's womb, was carried, whom they laid daily at the gate of the temple, which is called Beautiful, to ask alms for those who enter the temple, who, seeing Peter and John about to go in the temple, asked for alms. So he gave them his attention, expecting to receive something from them. Then Peter said, "Silver and gold I do not have, but what I do have I give you. In the name of Jesus Christ of Nazareth, rise up and walk." You see, provision comes in many different ways. There are many things that I can mention tonight, and that could be mentioned. One of the things that we need as God brings provision is we need healing power. The man thought to receive purchasing power, and that's important. It's important when it's not just purchasing. The purchasing is not self-centered. We'll get there. Just hang on to your hat. But at this moment, this critical moment, the man didn't need alms. He didn't need purchasing power. He needed healing power. Because Peter and John put a few coins in his cup, he would be able to purchase a meal, but his lifestyle would still be less than what God created him for. You notice that right from his mother's womb he was lame, and yet God had a greater vision for this man who was lame in his ankle bones, his feet. And there are those of you in this room that have certain things in your life that have crippled you. And you notice that in this man's crippled state, it was not his fault. Now, all of us in this room have made mistakes. All of us in this room have made bad decisions. And so there are some things that we have opened ourselves up to, and yet we live in a fallen world, and the enemy hates us. He hates us, humans, created in the image and the likeness of God. And even as it wasn't the man's fault coming out of his mother's womb crippled, there are things in your life that have nothing to do with it being your fault. It has everything to do with who you look like, who you remind the enemy of, and what's on the inside of you, and the vision in the heart of God, the vision that He sees you. The vision that He sees you is stepping through doors, plural, doors of provision. Door after the doors keep getting bigger. bigger. And the provision flows. He provides for you. And before you know it, it's too much. And you're providing for others. And the enemy knows that that capacity is inside you. All of you.
Amen. Amen.
And so what he wants is to leave you crippled. Day after day, they would lay this man at the gate right outside the temple. Peter and John were going at this time because it was a dedicated time, dedicated to prayer. And so they were going to pray. But as they were going to pray, here this man was. To some, it would seem like a distraction. Can I tell you that are crippled in this room that you are not a distraction to God?
Amen. Amen.
And your crippled places are not a distraction to the Spirit. It's not a distraction to Dream Nations Church. It's not a distraction to me. Your crippled places are an attraction to God.
Yes,
Right.
yes.
He is attracted to your weakness and your brokenness.
That's right.
Because His strength, Paul says, writes, His strength is made perfect in my weakness.
That's right.